Welcome to Paranormal Heart Podcast with host Kat Ward.
You shouldn't let me around a mic.
The night has come, it's cold and losing my control. Your light is gone, and lonely darkness fill my soul. I wish that you could save me from my isolation. It's way too complicated. Let's stop this conversation. Stop this conversation. We got no relation. I've come for you in my control.
Hi, and welcome everyone to Ethereal Encounters Unveiled. Today we are broadcasting live on the United Public Radio Network and the UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 on the Gulf Coast and 107.7 FM in beautiful New Orleans.
This is the United Public Radio Network, 107.7 FM in New Orleans and 105.3 in the Gulf Coast. UPRNTalkRadio.com. Welcome to Paratruth. Welcome.
Them creepy kids giggling.
Hi, I'm Brittany Ashley, your host of Breaking Norms Building Dreams, your guide through this transformative journey in both business and life. This is your place crafted for dreamers, doers, or anyone who has been told they can't. Get ready as we challenge those narratives together. You're tuning in live to the United Public Radio Network, airing on 105.3 and 107.7 FM in New Orleans. We are streaming on all the popular platforms every Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Join me for a candid and thought-provoking conversation celebrating your unique journey because you are worth it.
You're listening to UFO Undercover with your host, Joe Montaldo, right here on the Paranormal Radio Network.
Are you ready to explore the unknown? Dive into the world of the strange, mysterious, and unexplained with Eerie Expeditions magazine. Each issue is packed with spine-tingling tales, cutting-edge paranormal investigations, and exclusive insights into hauntings, cryptids, UFOs, and more. Whether you're a seasoned investigator or just love a good ghost story, Eerie Expeditions magazine has something for you. Join our growing community of truth seekers and adventure lovers. Subscribe today at EerieExpeditionsMagazine.com.
I had had enough.
Well, you drove out there into the middle of nowhere and had some sort of loud verbal display challenging ET in general out in the middle of nowhere?
That's what I was doing. I actually had
You damn right I
pistol in
did.
my hand at the time. I was really ticked off. When I was
got up
having
and
this
slapped
fit,
that bitch
I
ET
was
right in the
waving the
face.
gun in the air, okay, and I had this fit. And at this moment, I said, okay.
Hold on, Joe. Fit might not be the right word, my friend. Blue on.
He was a Louisiana man named Montaldo. Folks around called him Six Gun Joe. Worked with ICAR, don't you know? Investigating UFOs. Out for a drive with a gal one night, they stopped to check out the reporting site. When an alien lit right there on the ground, he commenced to throwing his weight around. Now, old Six Gun didn't take too kindly to that kind of thing, especially without Vaseline or anything like that, you know. Seriously. Well, Six Gun looked that critter right in the eye and said, "Any last wish before you die, yo?" Reached for his gun, quick as a twitch, and said, "Fill your claw, you son of a bitch." Now a legend spread across the land about this pistol-waving man. But if you're from space or from Earth below, you don't give no lip to Six Gun Joe.
Welcome to hell to UFO Undercover. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are in this big, beautiful blue place called Terra. Earth, Sol, Tree, whatever the hell you want to call it, I don't care anymore. Right now it's home, so that's what I call it, is home.
Yeah.
Living out here at home. You know, I was watching just now. There's it's really weird up here right now on the coast right now because we have the cruising the coast up here, and they're all about a bunch of insane people. Which I mean, they're really nice people. Now, it's you know, you 50+ crowd, all got a little money, all driving nice cars, all those old collectors' cars around making noise, keeping people up all night and stuff like that. Not me, people. I stay up all night anyway. So, but it is the thing. But the bad part is, you know, I'm waiting on an upgrade for one of the systems for the station for a gig and gig, you know, one up, one down, and a different one than what we got here because I had forgotten. Anytime it gets extremely busy up here, spring break, stuff like cruising the coast, if they pack in too close to you, it pulls down on the bandwidth in the area because of Katrina. They're still making a bandwidth from Katrina. And
Yeah.
which is kind of, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, it's 20 years now.
But but still, the more people that are on it, it taxes it and brings it down and makes it slower for everyone.
Well, yeah, because what happened is they had to put limited internet in it first. Now we have a business connection for the primary outbound station, so it's a different type of connection. So we don't really have any problems with that. I think in 15 years of having it here, it's going down twice, and that was during hurricanes, and it didn't even stay down very long. But the backup systems and the systems we use for just chatting and stuff like that are on the air connections. And man, when it gets busy around here, it gets crazy. So UVerse, because I used to love UVerse, but you couldn't get it up here because I live in the middle of nowhere. So they called me a couple weeks ago and said, "Hey, Joe, we know you loved us when you were in New Orleans. What about here?" So they made me this deal, and I had forgot about it, and I remembered like 3 days ago. And so I called them up and said, "Hey, would you still do it?" And they gave me actually a better deal. And man, so it's 1 gig up, 1 gig down. Let it go. Don't worry about anything. Everything's in real time because it's running on 36 core computers, except for this one. This is my baby. This is an 8-core. Y'all don't make fun of it. It's just a little 8-core computer. I remember when 8 cores were like supercomputers. Now they're just little babies.
Yeah, they're pads now.
It's all. Who is this strange person you let in the room with us, man? Do you know this person?
I do not. It is your friend Whitty.
Who? I've never seen this person before. Are you sure? Are you sure? I think they hacked somebody, man.
I'm pretty sure, Joe. You got a few years on me, so you may not remember.
You're lucky I was sipping coffee, you fucker. I mean, you person, you. No cursing allowed on the show, Marco. Or y'all even start with me. It's anyway. We're gonna really be talking about just why in the hell, with any advanced civilization, want to come to Earth and mess with us. And even if they created us, why haven't they moved on? Because I mean, come on, obviously we're a wreck.
Yeah, we're a dumpster fire right now.
I mean, yes.
The whole planet is.
We're like your trash cousin with the tramp stamp. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
My two and only speculations on the wherefores and the whys. 2 reasons why they were in this area. First one is they were exploring and they just happened to find this out of place solar system that's way away from all the other solar systems. Number 2, there was a war, and either this planet or something in this solar system perhaps had a super large honking space gun, and one of the combatants on the other side getting shot by this big honking space gun came to this solar system and destroyed it, either by somehow redirecting asteroids into the inner planets or through nuclear fission or fusion bombardment, and destroyed several things. 3 planets, turned 1 planet to rubble, ripped the atmosphere off another, and knocked one on its side. And so if that's the case, then they're here and staying because they're repairing whatever damage they did. If they just happen to drive by and be like, "Oh, look, there's a nice little scenic overlook. Let's go check it out," then we have lots of things to think about. Why would they be here and have made us on this planet out in the middle of nowhere, away from everything else, and then still be here watching us and experimenting on us? So I don't think they just kind of just drove by and found us.
Well, Leah told me why.
Oh, well, let's pop her in here and see if she can give us those answers.
She told me because they knew I was going to be coming.
Oh.
Hi.
Hey, Leah.
What you doing, Leah?
I
Leah,
just dropped. Hi.
This is some strange person that hacked the room and came in to hang out with us. It's
hello.
We're just going to change her name to Hacker 109.
Hacker 109.
I just dropped Liam off. I took him to a pumpkin patch, and he got his face painted, and he got to go and pet all the animals at the farm.
Oh, cool.
Lord.
Yeah.
He's dressed up like a little alien now, I bet.
Nothing like petting a bunch of stinky animals.
If you consider a little puppy an alien, then yes.
Yes, well, alien, they're kind of a little. They're kind of a little on the alien side, if you ask me. I mean, I got someone, trust me, I think they're part alien. In my case, I think they're part alien, an alien cat, actually. Even though they're dogs, they think they're cats. No, these are dogs, but they just think they're cats. They like to hang off the back of the couch and lay sideways and, try to eat owls and stuff like that. They're insane. What can you do? They're just...
So, what were you guys saying before I rudely interrupted?
We were talking about why the aliens we're here.
To why aliens would have come to this solar system, created us, and then stuck around and watched the dumpster fire that's currently happening. And I speculate they either just came by and found this solar system and then did their experiments, or there was some sort of conflict and they destroyed things here. And then as a penance for the end of their war, they're sticking around, fixing the planet, and trying to rebuild what was once here.
I think they're doing some genealogical experimentation.
They're definitely doing that. That's definitely part of it. There's no question that they're not doing that. The question is why, and why are they still here after having created all of us? And again, our planet is in the midst of a enormous dumpster fire, especially in like some of these sanctuary cities, New York, LA, Los Angeles. The riots are erupting. What are they sticking around for? So are they sticking around because they're building something good for us and they're not done, or are they sticking around because they're looking something good for them and they haven't found it yet? And when they do, are they going to drop us like a bad potato?
Nah,
well, what does the Galactic Federation say?
They're not worried about none of that. The reptilians, you just wait until the herd is nice and plump and thick. You know, about another 2.5 billion, 3 billion people. Got to fatten all them up a little bit more, make them live longer. You know, make sure you tenderize them, get them where they don't have to work. Put them on assisted living and stuff. So all they got to do is lay around, play video games, so that their meat's nice and tender. And then they can feed their children on their 60 planets they have for decades, eons, actually. Sounds good to me. You humans, y'all are so damn touchy. Just because you're going to get eaten doesn't mean anything. I mean, come on. Sacrifice yourself for the greater good.
What do you guys think about the theory that Earth is a prison planet?
Well, it's been called that. It's been called a training planet, a schooling planet. It might also be a farming planet, as Joe suggests, which is another possibility, and one that I'm not absolutely against. I mean, think about it. There are, in just the Americas alone, United States of America, there is over 1 million people go missing every year without a trace, and are never, ever, for years. Even people keep looking for them, never found.
Yeah, we know who's eating them. That's Hillary Clinton, but that's for another show.
That could be the Clintons, yeah, and it could be Friday's show. But some of those aliens could be harvesting us as food, and you know, if that's a possibility, then they're definitely never going to let us know that they're here, because you don't want your food source to know that they have control over you, and that just creates rebellion. So, but yeah, we could definitely be a food source. I don't doubt that 1 second.
Yes, yummy. You see, I don't have to worry about it because I'm too high in cholesterol, so they're not going to eat me. But you know, you skinny, especially you other people, you skinny people. Oh man, you better be careful. They like lean meat, especially them reptilians. They really like their meat lean. They don't, they're old guys can't have cholesterol either. So just.
Well, that means they won't want nothing to do with me.
Or me, thank God. Yeah.
Oh, Jay's a skinny ass. Let me use him for a toothpick, man. No,
well, if it hadn't been for all the beer in college, I'd probably be eating, because I was a lean, skinny little shit myself way back when, but not anymore.
Jesse, not, and Kim, you too. I don't think they're here to eat us. I think they're people. You and your pal talk. You gotta like write to me the day before the show to remind me to put it back on this computer. Well, it's open on the other one, but I'm too lazy to go over there. Yeah, it's just that's how it is. Now, what the hell was I saying before I was rudely interrupted by these crazy people?
Something about what the aliens were doing with us, why they're here. We're not being fed on. I don't think we are either, but I mean, it is still a possibility because there's more than one race playing with this planet, and then they're not all friendly.
There was reasons in the beginning for why they originally were here. Now it's more of a, well, let's just hang out and see how these immature idiots mature.
Yeah, let's see what this dumpster fire turns into.
I think they got odds on if we're even going to make it to the dumpster fire.
What if it has something to do with what, like, New Agers talk about when it comes to, like, ascending to the fourth or fifth dimension, or like breaking free of the third
So,
dimensional
but
realm.
I gotta, before you even get into that, I got a question for you. If you're a new ager, you might want to turn your volume down for a moment. Okay, I want someone to tell me a new ager who has ever been right. Can't say how I would normally say it, like on Friday or Saturday night, because it's more on this show. But I'm serious. I mean, I have owned a paranormal radio network for going on almost 30 years. Been in the ufology field for 42, almost 43 years. And I got to say, I got a lot of new age friends. And we have had a lot of new age hosts over the years and directors. How can I say this politely? They're never right. Ever.
It seems like it's a different verbiage. There's a different like way of using words to describe things in a different way. We're all talking about the same thing, but it's like they use a different language. I don't know, when it comes to like opening up the inner gates to your spirituality or like things like that, I don't know. I'm trying really hard to feel the vibes, but I don't, you know.
Because one, you're not in the right place
so
to
to
feel
speak.
anytime. The only vibes you're feeling where you are is, when they come in and mistake you for El Chico and send your ass down to Mexico. That's the only vibe you're gonna feel over there. You're close enough to where the rotary oscillator is hitting the motor. Anyway, I'll be nice about this, but you're close enough to hell that you should be worried. But
why so?
Because they're just tearing Chicago apart.
Oh yeah, you're talking about Chicago. I thought you meant like the metaphysical hell.
Yeah, no, you're too close to the real hell to be worrying about the metaphysical hell. You need to be worrying about the other hell first. Oh man.
There's too many there's way too many Second Amendment right
that's good news for
loyalists where I live.
It's a good thing. Guns are a good thing when it comes to stuff like this.
I'm far enough away from Chicago to also not be in Chicago. You know what I mean?
Yeah. James, as far as I know, aliens aren't scared of guns. How do I know?
They have no reason to be. There's no long-term threat.
If I'm out somewhere and doing something and we get taken or something like that happens, it's a 75, maybe even 80% chance I've got a gun on me. My favorite one to carry concealed is right there. Look at that. That's the one 6-gun Joe's written over right there. It's my favorite one to carry concealed. Now, the favorite one I like to use to shoot at people, she's in the other room sleeping. Her name is Martha. But that's the one. That's actually the gun that he wrote 6-gun Joe over. I don't know why he called it 6-gun, because frankly, it's not. It's like a 9-gun or so, 10-gun. I don't know what the hell it is. No, Jesse, really, that's if you ever hear the old episode of Wake Up USA where I'm talking about that. And this is many moons ago, way before Woody was even born. That's we used to talk about these kind of things. And I was talking about a particular experience that happened on Honey Island Swamp near the NASA Stennis facility. And that's the gun I had with me that night. Yes. Actually, for such a little gun, it's a heavy little shit. Yeah, it's some nickel plated. Yeah, it's some special edition crap. And I don't usually buy guns that are shiny because in places I go, I don't like the gun being all shiny and stuff. I like a matted or black or something. Pink. Yeah, I know people have pink guns, actually. I do. Pink, blue, and green, actually, to be honest with you. Yeah, I was in a Brooklyn pizzeria when it was being robbed, and the two chicks in front of me, one had a pink 380, and one had one had a pink 380, and one had a turquoise 9mm. Hey, ladies, that's the color guns they want. Let me tell you what, when the guy came in with the machete, I'm robbing the place, and he had a gun on him, but by the time we went to reach for it, these two chicks done had his ass. They didn't get killed. No, I had Martha was on my side. There was no reason for me to pull it out. So that's the difference between living in the South and living in the North. So you're in a pizzeria in the North, somebody comes to rob you with a gun. Everybody in the pizzeria just gives them their shit. Down here, you either get shot or you go to prison. It's highly unlikely you're getting away with anything. Anyway, Jeffrey, getting back to what we were talking about. The argument is here, was there life here before they came, which is a hard one to do. Did they create life? Did they find something that was half-ass life and created? Or was there something here much older before us that actually belongs to this planet and somewhere along the line gave these other people permission to come here? Because, there are some things, out of place artifacts, parts, kind of screw with your everyday reality.
Well, I know that, like, on the surface, for myself personally, I know that the story is told that I was born here, and I have like an earthly family and all that, but I definitely don't feel like I'm from here. I feel like my heart and my like being yearns for a place outside of this world, like away.
Wait. Stop for a second. How do you know it's outside of this world, not outside of this time?
That's a good question.
Because in the future, it would be like a different world to you. I mean, if you just jumped 100 years, it would be quite a bit different. 200 years, you probably wouldn't even recognize the place. I mean, think about going backwards in 200 years and trying to bring anybody from that time period.
You don't even have to imagine. Go back 125 years to 1900. All I mean is, and then 125 years later, we got. But
all I mean is, for an individual, if you were born in 1790 and you came to 2025, you wouldn't
lose your shit. You wouldn't
even know what the hell. You'd be like, what the hell? I mean, half of what goes on would be magic. People looking at each other on their cell phone. Give me a freaking break. They wouldn't even know how to deal with that. I'm sure they would learn, but it'd be way. And then the further back you went, the worse it would get. So it's the same for us. If we start going,
I think the culture shock would be most abrupt if, say, they were to be, instantly taken from 1700s into modern day downtown New York City. The culture shock alone, they probably would die from shock.
Let's go back to 7000 BCE and bring back one of the workers on one of the pyramids and bring him back to anywhere, any big city, anywhere in the world for that matter, and just see how he would react. Because technically, Egypt was a big city back then, so population shouldn't bother. I mean, there was 300,000, 500,000 people living in Cairo at the time. So
but did they have planes and trains and automobiles and steam engines and boats and gasoline, internal combustion gasoline
kind of
engine?
Other crap besides that.
No,
they had other technology. Like, I believe that there was a different, like, it was different. It was based on other forms of energy that we don't use today.
I believe.
You mean like my probing stick? Okay, so.
I believe the ancient people, our ancient, ancestors were watching and observing advanced vehicles travel this planet all the time until some certain point where it just stopped. Because I think, where do we get these kind of stories? I mean, how does the culture of Sumeria, the Sumerians, how do they invent writing and reading and how to write their language on clay tablets? But like the first things they write is basically akin to Star Wars. The people that don't have television, they don't even have like plays, and
that might have been their plays, man. I mean, that might have truly been their plays. That might have been their entertainment. See, that's the problem. We don't know because none of us were there. We don't actually know. We can't take it as gospel because, well, frankly, we weren't there. But the problem is, and I'm not actually arguing with you about this, because everyone you talk to, Sumerians, the Mesopotamians, the Egyptians, really truly, they all existed around the same, started existing around the same time, started writing around the same time. Because now there's a big argument between Zero Dynasty Egypt and Sumeria, who actually had the first writing, but none of that matters because we go back another 6,000 years or 7,000 years the coast of India, and guess what? There's 2 cities there. And what do they have? Writing. So that puts writing around 15,000 years ago. Okay, well that really changes the whole premise of what we were taught in school.
That
we were taught
changes the
started.
entire spectrum. I mean, it changes history completely. Number
yes,
one.
Wait, Jesse, it's worse than that, because the 3 sunken pyramids off the coast of Cuba say they date back to 15,000 years. And guess, yes, 3, and complexes. And wait, it's worse than that. There are writings.
Oh yeah. Didn't they find some writing on the
They actually think it's early. They can't. They think it's like a cross between early Toltec and pre-Egyptian. Don't ask me.
Didn't they also find some writing on
Barry to give me a ride down there?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Yonaguni, the pyramid in Japan, it's underwater. It's like 65 feet underwater, or 65 meters. Excuse me, underwater. Yeah. They use meters. Didn't they also find writing on that, or something that was carved?
I don't know. The black one. I haven't heard about any writing, but I have heard there was a couple of places where there was definitely some kind of round table, looked like an altar of some sort. It was raised 4 feet off. There was like a groove cut, and then it was raised another 4 feet. So it was like a 4 foot down, and then it was coming up another 4 feet. So I guess the whole length was somewhere close to 8 feet.
An 8 foot tall table.
If you were standing in the groove, yeah. And there's a couple of things. It's not just that. Think about this, Jay. When you look at this pyramid and you see people swimming, there are steps.
Yes.
Those steps are about the size of a human.
Oh, they're larger than that, actually.
Well, whatever they are, that's what I mean. They're bigger than us.
Yeah, the steps are like for like a 20 or 30 foot tall person.
Yeah. So yeah, at least 20 for sure. And James, we don't know, because we can only judge. I mean, none of us have been there. We haven't been able to put our head up against the wall and see how many feet this actually is. Well, in our case, most steps are going to be around 9 inches. 9 to 12 inches, depending.
Yeah. Okay. So here, the risers. That's the part that the front of the step, the flat part. Those are usually 10 inches high, and up to 12. The tread that you step on is usually 12 inches wide that you step on, and then the risers underneath that you set the treads on.
No, I know it's. Oh wait, hold on. It's usually like 12, 24. It's usually 36 by 11, 5/8, and whatever the back riser is, which is usually around 10 inches. Yeah. And so that's for us people. That's a human, pretty much a standard
average
human
6
step.
foot tall person. Yes.
Yeah.
And anyone in the range from like 4 foot tall to 8 foot tall can navigate those size stairs. But stairs engineered for someone the size of 20 foot, we would need a ladder.
Yes, and a decent ladder at that.
Yes.
We don't know what it is. So they said
forever.
The one in Japan was natural, but there's too many angles, too many corners, too many circles,
too many straight lines.
It's just too much. Even scientists had to give up on its natural. But the problem is they don't now. Just because it's cut like that doesn't mean back in the day there was not some kind of step system or ladder system. This thing may have been designed. Somebody may have built a temple for the gods.
There could have been all kinds of wooden platforms, or even other stone platforms or walkways.
And there are holes and slots and shit they have found, which suggests there was something wood there at one time. Well, no, Denise. Okay, stop for a minute. You're typing away, but stop and think about the Nazcans. The Nazcans built things far bigger than they did. Okay, and they had to really have an aerial view at some point just to lay this out across the desert.
Yeah.
To have an idea how they were going to lay this out.
There would be no way, even artistically, to make those lines in Nazca without having someone above saying, "Okay, turn left." It'd be almost impossible to make some of those accurate. I mean, there's the Aranye, or the spider glyph, is very, very close to an actual spider known as the reticulated spider, and I can't remember the exact name, but the spider, it's reticulensis, I think, in Latin. And it's a spider that on the third leg, the male has an appendage that it can fold out to mate with the female. And that design, that feature is in the Aranye glyph on the Nazca Plain. However, that type of spider is extinct on the American plateau, both north, south, and central. Reticulated spiders do not exist on this continent anymore, and haven't for some 10,000 years. The only place that spider exists is in Africa, and it's a very rare spider, A, and B, the largest it gets is 10 millimeters in diameter. So it's not much bigger than the head of a pin. So it's very, very small, and one would require some type of magnifying lenses or glass or microscope to know that that spider had that appendage in order to paint that on the desert 6,000, 8,000 miles away in the high Peruvian desert. It's very strange mystery.
It is very weird. It is definitely very weird. Oh no, Denise, I take
There's
pictures
two
of
ways to
everything.
explain it. Either they were alive long enough to have seen the reticulated spiders that are extinct from this continent, or they've been to Africa, or someone from Africa came to here, or it's a representation of something else, and it's not a spider.
Well, it could be a representation of something else, but
It could
I
be
don't
the
know. But then
representation of
there's
the
also
atmosphere,
some
of the
other.
magnetic atmosphere of our planet.
But there's also some other features with these. So some of them run along. So in Nazca, there's an underground water system that every so often has a hole. Well, some of these run along what we would consider ley lines, but they also run along some of the Nazca lines, run right through them. It was almost like in some ways they were using these lines to show you where each one of these was. Follow the line, follow the hole. Not like that, you know. It was just an expression, my friend, but follow the line, follow the hole, yeah. Well, I don't know about all of that. All we know is they existed, and the reason we know about the holes is because somebody fell in one and found all kind of stuff down, pots and all kind of stuff. And at first they were trying to say it was a burial thing, but it wasn't. So they don't know if people just dropped it in there as sacrifices, or somehow or another it got washed down there, maybe through some crazy rain somewhere or another.
Joe, Army Vet has a question for you.
What's up, Army?
He wants to know, have any abductees or contactees ever asked the aliens about 3i Atlas or the other objects coming into our atmosphere, into our solar system, and have they gotten a response?
Actually, the responses I've gotten lately were kind of funny. It's kind of like an old Doctor Who episode or an old Star Trek episode. The answers are basic. What is it? Too adult of a puzzle for you? I mean, that's what the aliens are telling the humans. Is it too much of a adult puzzle for you? They're not saying if it's real, not real, or in between. They're basically saying you're old enough and smart enough, you should be able to figure this out on your own. That's pretty much how they're laying it out.
Yeah,
And it's not the first time they've done something like this. They've talked about this on other things. Because every now and then people will ask them for things like, can you help us come up with a cure for cancer? Well, yeah, they could, but they're not going to. That's our job. Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's bullshit too, but it would be nice for some alien race to come down here and lay out a whole bunch of stuff for us. But we don't know what we're going to lose in that, because humans will be looking for an answer for something particular. So many things have been invented in this world because we were looking for something else.
I think the alien races, there's certain technologies that have been passed along to us, and we either what?
Without question. So
and we either look the gift horse in the mouth, or we completely misuse the technology and have since forfeited any future technology donations. You know what I mean?
Well, who did they give this so-called technology to, and what the hell was it?
The Germans. Leah, do you like reading? Are you a fan of reading books?
Yeah, I mean, when I have the time and I come across a really good book, it's something I got to get my hands on.
Yes, you definitely need to get your hands on this book. I no longer have a copy, or I would send it to you. It got lost in the move from Maryland to Pennsylvania, but the book is called The Day After Roswell. Hey, Heidi. It's by a guy named Philip Corso. He's a former, I think he's lieutenant colonel in the Air Force. And allegedly he siphoned several, let's just say, artifacts from a vehicle from a friend of ours, very, very far away. And he funneled into the military industrial complex, places like DuPont, Dow, Northrop Grumman, Skunk Works, a few other places, funneled in certain things like fiber optic cable, Velcro hook and loop closure, a type of metal that is a stealth skin for making your planes and other vehicles nearly invisible to electronic devices, not invisible to the eye, but invisible to electronic means. And let's see, on a whole host of other things, the room temperature microchip, just about everything we use as a technology now is in this guy's book. And, you know, I'm not making fun of this. He actually says that the aliens gave us Velcro. So whether that's one of those false truths, the book itself is really quite interesting.
No, that's one of the Roswell people said they gave it to us. That was one of the things they found. But I thought some black gentleman invented Velcro.
Velcro was actually the way Corso did it was he went to Delaware and to DuPont and gave it to them. And then I think DuPont couldn't do it because they're more chemical than fabric, and they gave it to Dow. And then eventually I think 3M.
It's what is that, Raymond? 3M does everything.
Yeah.
They literally do everything. No, I mean literally. They do chemical, they do software, they do hardware.
They do fabrics.
Well, I mean,
if you go to any hardware store, Joe can attest this, go to any hardware store, whether it's Lowe's, Tractor Supply, Home Depot, any of them, and you go and buy Velcro off the shelf, it's going to say 3M right on the box.
Oh yeah, almost every time. Yeah,
almost
every time. I don't. I mean, I don't know if I've ever bought any that didn't. I can't be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there's some generic brand, but in all fairness, what?
There's a poor kitty cat crying at the door. Let me go rescue him.
What is this you sent me, Mike? Hold on, Mike sent me something. George D. Mistral. Let's see, 1907, died 1990. Swiss electrical engineer, invented the hook and loop fastener, which is named Velcro. Wow, I didn't even know who this guy is. I've never even heard this guy before. He was born Albert D. Mistral. Okay, well, hey, dude, look, I'm not arguing with you. I'm glad you sent it over. He died at 82, huh? Known for inventing Velcro. Children 3. Yes, yes, you know how I feel about Wikipedia, though. You know that, right? Oh, I'm not saying this is bullshit. I'm not the biggest fan of Wikipedia. No, Wiki got a little crazy. They went a little wokey crazy there and started putting stuff on their sites and up and stuff that were, how can I say this politely, half truths. Yeah, they got a little crazy there for a while. Well, because anybody, so I can go and put up a page about anything right now and open it up so anybody can edit the page. Yes. There were supposed to be pages you were not supposed to be able to edit, but I found out once you've been on here long enough, they'll let you edit anything. Yeah. But they would not let me put up my own page. They took it down 3 times. I know. What can you do? What can you do? But anyway, thank y'all for sending that. Whoever that was again, I forgot who it was. I'll put that in my basket of useless knowledge for the future. How's that? Okay. No, it's like the Ferengi. Yes, they beamed it into his head. Yes. Yeah. 3M did. They beamed it into his head. I'm just teasing. Yeah. Oh man, I need better drugs. Jeffrey. What are you talking about? So, I mean, when you get into the aliens, it's just so many places you can go because. So we know the Greys, reptilians, and humans are the ones doing the abductions. We know the tall whites are out there in Area 53 playing with Yeah, isn't Charles Hall doing a lecture on that pretty soon?
Yeah, I
In
haven't found
Albuquerque, is
anything
that
on
where it is?
that. If you get a tour date or a location or a venue, that would be good. If it's close enough.
Yeah, I don't know what I did with the information.
Let me see if I can find it. Try it again.
I
Last
mean, the
time
Charles
you mentioned
Hall.
I couldn't find anything.
Okay.
Ouch, Mr. P.
So Charles Hall. Now you might have to go to Wake Up USA for some of these interviews. I did 6 of them all together. 3 at Wake Up USA and 3 with UFO Undercover. It take a lot of digging to find them. I don't even know if they're available on this. We've only got 4,000 or 5,000 archives on here on YouTube here. So they took our old channel. They took it away from us. They said, no, y'all can't have it anymore. You were bad people. This was doing COVID. Yeah, that channel made a lot of money, and they just took it. They made money not off advertisement, off of membership. Yes. Well, we had a pretty loyal bunch back then. Well, we haven't really started pushing for membership, even though we have been putting stuff in the membership categories. We really haven't started pushing for it yet. We will probably the start of next year. But that was pretty much all they had told me. Army was
here we go.
5
days ago.
Oh, it's already passed. It's already happened. Okay.
No, I don't know. No, it's just the article was posted. Let me see what it says here. ABQ UFOs presents an afternoon with Charles James Hall. This month, 25 October, 2 p.m. Cafe Close Encounters. Let's discuss the latest UFO news in Albuquerque, arts and events.
Yep.
In Albuquerque, literary art events in Albuquerque. I guess it's New Mexico.
Yep, Albuquerque.
You mentioned Albuquerque 1, 2, 3 times in the same sentence.
I know, huh? Reese, I've been to Albuquerque a couple of times. I've been to Amarillo too.
So yeah, but Bugs Bunny always made that wrong left turn there. So always make sure you get your turns right, or you'll always wind up wherever.
It's funny. Usually when I'm going to Albuquerque, I make a right on the interstate up there and head into Colorado. Usually coming in the backside of an Indian reservation. So
Red River.
Yeah, I put my chief hat on and put my feathers on my car and stuff. No, I'm just kidding. No, it's a danger. Let me tell you something about Indian reservations. So we do a lot of traveling. I got one of my guys with me, Joe Renaud's a good guy. He's I stopped and pick him up in Palestine, Texas. And so he hops in the car, we're cruising along. We've been driving for like 2 days nonstop. Stopped one night at the hotel. So we're in the second night we're driving on there. There are deer and rabbit everywhere. Did rabbit for the most part. Because there were so many of them that they were just getting slaughtered. And there was still too many to count. We ran across big packs of deer several times. The one time was so trippy. We were cruising up the side of this mountain at about 1:30 in the morning. We just got to Crescent and the fog opened just for a second. And there were deer everywhere, all out in the middle of the street, grazing up and down the side of the little green grassy hills and stuff. I was like, it's a good thing I wasn't cruising. And so we had to poke out. We got video of it. It's on Facebook United Public page somewhere. But it was trippy, and it was foggy and trippy. Deer. When they say you see deer like that and you're in the fog and all, you're probably being abducted. I don't think that's what was going on. But anyway, we come down off that mountain, and I looked down at the gas, and I said, damn, Joe, we got to stop at gas. It's 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. We pull into a big shell station. Big. Pull in. 4 guys sitting down on the side of the building. I walk up, pop the credit card in the thing, pump the thing in there. Joe ran in the store to get something. He said, "You want anything?" I said, "No, I got," because we had drinks in the car and snacks. I was like, I was good. But he come back walking over. I was looking for something in the car. I said, "You come finish the tank off for me." So he's pumping the gas. And I heard it pop, and it made me look up. When I did, I noticed 3 of the guys were sitting straight across from us, were walking straight towards the car. So Daddy slipped over, slid his hand in the seat, and slid his good friend up right against the seat. And then the other one come running up. No, they were 4 Native Americans lived we were on the plantation. And he comes out and says, "What you doing out here, white boy?" I said, "What are you doing out here, brown boy?" No, actually I said, "What are you doing out here, red boy?" And he looked at me like, "What you said, white boy?" I said, "What are you doing out here, red boy?" I said, I'm getting gas, obviously, because that's what I'm doing. Joe clicks the thing back on, slides it on. I said, no, he was getting ready to walk around. I said, don't walk yet. And I said, what do y'all want? He said, well, you're going to have to pay us for helping you. I said, helping us for what? Not beat you up. And right as he said that, I lifted Martha off the seat. And I said, I'm going to tell you this one time, and then I'm going to send you all to meet your maker. And as he did, as I lifted back to pull up, because I didn't have a chamber, I pulled it back to chamber around. And I just lifted it right over the hood of the car and said, excuse me now, what are we talking about again? Some bitch. He turned ghost white, man. The other three were gone before the gun even made it over to point at the other guy. That's how fast they were going. And, but of course, we were in the middle of blank nowhere in the middle of the night. It's just one of them things. And you could tell we didn't belong there. You could tell by the car we were driving we didn't belong there. And
here's a good one.
What was that, Jesse? No, it happens sometimes.
I've told you my story about the hurricane, and I don't have a name for the gun, but I had my 9mm on my side, and some guys tried to beat us up while we were stopped on the side of the road, evacuating from a hurricane, wanting to beat us up. And when they saw my sidearm on my hip, they just tore off with their pickup truck, went the other direction. See ya. Anyway, Army Vet has a good question to piggyback off the last one. Have the abductees or contactees asked the Greys about the tall whites?
I don't exactly know why the Greys allow the tall whites to stay here. They're very strict on who comes to the planet. I think that's why they were sent here in the first place, to make sure nobody else came to the planet.
Oh, well, yeah. Okay.
The tall whites have to have the blessing of the council if they're on the planet. Now, this I don't know. So this is something we can talk about real quick. Originally, when I talked to Charles Halls about the tallest white, I asked him if he thought they were part of the galactic community, and he said no. That they hadn't either. I don't remember how he said, but I think he said they hadn't been invited to join, or they didn't want to join. Regardless, I think they didn't want to join actually, but I ain't 100% sure. I'd have to go listen to one of the old archives to be sure. So herein lies the problem for the council. Can they tell an alien race you can't come here when the people who live here said you can?
But do the people who live here, do they have full domain over this planet? And I don't think that we do.
We have full domain over our country, and that's where they are.
I would argue we don't have full domain over our country because they can impede our airspace uninhibited by anything we can throw at them, even our most exotic stuff.
Yes, but they're not native, so they don't count. And what's that, Mike? Well, it's possible the reptilians could be native, but the other two are definitely not native. The Greys for sure, and the humans. The humans are too big to be from this world. They're from a definitely different environment, different gravity world. Greys are definitely from a much lower, much less light than our planet is. Yeah, so. Well, the humans are very stocky and very thick, but they're still very tall. But they could be from like a 2G or a 3G environment.
Yeah.
Well, no, Jack, okay, let's say it's a 5G world. That doesn't mean they're going to be short and stocky because your body's going to be grown according to that planet. So you could still be proportioned just like we are. But you would definitely be thicker because, you'd probably be taller too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would think you would, when I first started talking to people about this, I said, oh, no, they're going to be squattier. But no, because you would still grow. That's how your genes or your bones would develop. But your bones would be thicker, so you would be thicker.
Think of it like a fish tank. Anyone who's ever had fish, freshwater or saltwater, particularly goldfish. Goldfish will grow. Goldfish can grow up to like, I think, 5 or 6 feet long if they're out in their natural environment, like a big pond. 5 or 6 foot long goldfish. It's a big fish. That's something that will feed a whole family. But they grow to the size of the container. The bigger the container, the larger the fish. So think about the planet as an aquarium. The smaller the planet, the smaller the creatures on it. The bigger the planet, the bigger the creatures. Larger the gravity, the more muscular they are. The less gravity, the skinnier they're going to be. It just seems to make sense. I mean, if the Greys came from a planet like Mars, like the fifth or sixth planet out from their sun, they'd be skinny little creeps. And if the Anunnaki came from, say, Venus, in their world, where Venus is the second planet from the sun, might have a much stronger gravity, and therefore they would have to fight against that gravity, and therefore their bodies would become taller.
It's what's that? We don't know. I mean, it's hard going. I mean, there's a wide range of people on this planet, from 5 foot to 7 foot, easy, spread out all across. So, and it doesn't seem to be any particular environment. Well, no, environment does make a difference. So if your DNA was raised in the plains in Africa, you're going to be taller. So that you can see.
Is it Namibia? Is it Namibia? I think is Namibia the average height for man or a woman is like 7'5". 7'5". That's huge.
Oh, you mean for oh no, I think Jay and I looked this up a couple of weeks ago. It's like 5'9.5" is the average height of a man.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not as tall as people think it is. No, 6 foot are still freaks, by the way. If you're 6 foot tall, you're still considered a freak.
Yeah.
If you're 7 foot, you're a super freak.
Yeah.
I don't make the rules. No, I don't make the rules. I've got a lot of tall friends. I got a lot of friends in between 6 foot.
Giants have always been feared and thought of as evil creatures throughout time and history.
It's what do you mean? So think about what you just said, Marco. But this guy's like 6'6" and he's 250. That's not really that big of a guy. He might be tall, but he's not really that big of a guy. 250 is kind of lanky and skinny.
Yeah.
Because I'm 250. Yes. And if I hit you, I'd knock your ass through a wall. Well, no, because he have all that. No, see, a guy, if you're going to be that tall, you're going to have to be in the 300 range, 320, 330. And no, that wouldn't even be fat. That would just be fit. Yeah, well, you can't get super tall without adding weight. Because if you get super tall and there's no weight to it, your bones will be fragile. It's gravity is what makes our bones strong. Matter of fact, gravity does a lot of things for us, but it also what kills us early. Your heart pumping against the gravity, your joints being pulled down by the gravity, it's constant. But we've talked about this. So if you move to Mars, if you're 50 plus and you move to Mars, you're going to instantly, your heart's going to be like, what the bleep, man? You want to take high blood pressure medicine anymore.
You might not have to take, Yep. That would be awesome.
You're thinking about your
arthritis, but consists of at least 3 blood pressure medicines and a bunch of vitamins and other things. I take 25 pills every morning sometimes.
So just think about your joints. So instead of being squished together, being pulled out by gravity, it'll actually be relaxed and released.
Yeah, that's true. Your joints would smoke longer because there's not as much oxygen.
So we did a long time ago. We had done a show on this when Eli. Well, so about 25 years ago, I was asked to join. Would you like to go to Mars group out of Norway and Switzerland? Sorry, and I signed up for it. And there's all kind of stuff that you have to go through, and they were just really looking for people in case they could form a colony. Because I try to explain this to people all the time. When you build a colony on Mars, it's not just eggheads, not just scientists, it's not just astronauts and pilots. You've got to have plumbers, you've got to have electricians, you've got to have cooks, you've got to have cleaners. Everything we do here, you have to have there. Everything. Plus, they have to be more efficient and better at it than you are here, because there's more risk to it there. But there are some big advantages to the sooner you go, the better. If you're not planning on having children, the sooner you go, the better off you'll be. Because if you go, well, not before 40, Chris, because then it doesn't, the effects doesn't work as well. But anything over 40, especially if you're 50 or over. So in America today, you might live to be in your mid 80s if you're good shape, good health, not too healthy. Believe it or not, too healthy kills you. Yes, I don't know what that is. Well, think about all they used to tell us jogging and lifting weights, and now they tell us don't do that. It's bad for your joints and your bones. Yes, ain't that a bitch, huh? No. It's we got companies developing special shoes for stuff like that. But anyway, I digress. But on Mars, since it's 1/3 G, your joints release. They're not being drugged down by that constant weight. So they're not grinding against each other. And all that pain goes away. Think about that. You'll be able to move around almost pain-free. Plus, if you do have high blood pressure, more than likely you won't anymore. And guess what? No pain, no rubbing joints, and no high blood pressure means you may live to be 100, 110, 120. It'll be possible to live on Mars to 140. If you live here for the first 40 years and move there, it'll be possible to live to 140 years old instead of dying here at 85 or 70.
The Bible does say that our lifespan is 120 years.
So we can best that by just simply giving our body something else. Michael, having kids there is a whole different story. You have to have a 1G environment for kids, because if not, the children are going to start to mutate. And after a while, it'll become a certain type of mutation, a new being, a new person, a new type human. Yes, because they'll keep mutating until it gets to where it needs to be on Mars. Mm-hmm. So, but the 1G is not as complicated as you think. There's two ways of doing it. And they'll probably do it both ways. There'll probably be either artificial gravity on Mars, or they'll have a centrifuge on Mars that just goes at a low spin to keep it at 1G, so that the mothers can stay in there the whole time and the babies can stay in there the first couple of years. But they'll probably have one in space too, because it'll be easy to put one spinning in space.
Yeah, I would think if we get to the level of being able to control, alter, or change gravity, you'd have that ability, like a room in your house could do that. So everyone could go to this one room in the house.
According to
off your heart. If we had that here on Earth, that we could live longer.
Well, according to Elon number 2, they've already got artificial gravity at SpaceX.
Oh, good.
So there's been no reason to deploy it yet. They can't put it on a space station because it's got to be built, not integrated. But it is designed for the spaceship or any type of new colonization. So I guess we won't see that until they get to Mars, but still. A couple other things that recently, and he even alluded to some new technologies that they have, including 2 new types of engines they're working on that could get them to Mars in days or minutes instead of months. No telling with Elon.
Days or minutes?
I mean, every time I turn around, he's inventing something new. I do call him Drax all the time. Come on, he's got 46,000 satellites in space. And they're not little people, they're little satellites. No, they're big ass satellites with laser systems on board. So as we know, no, it's a communication laser as far as we know. But just think of all 46,000 actually have a 25 megawatt laser, or a 50 megawatt or 100 megawatt laser. Even if it's only a few blasts, that could do enormous amounts of damage. And with 46,000, they could just do this over our country and just sweep it clean, whatever size country it is. And I think his goal is going to be over 80,000. So originally it was only supposed to be 46,000. Every time I look, it goes up higher. Plus, he's getting ready to start sending them to Mars. Yeah, he wants to have his communication satellites completely set up on Mars before he gets there. And since I know he likes to protect things, I'm thinking some of these he's going to set up on Mars are going to be defense satellites as well. No, you can bet he may just claim Mars for himself and not want to share with China or the U.S. or anybody else. His original thing was when they showed his original plan, it was called Mustville. The whole planet, yeah.
Wow. Well, I mean, you did say it. I don't know if you were the first, but you said it, what? I don't know, how long ago? A year ago? 18 months ago?
Oh, I've been saying he's Drax since he started wanting to go to Mars. Ever since I heard about Starlink.
Yeah, it is 100% that scenario from that movie. I think he's closer to having the development than Drax actually did in the Moonraker movie.
Steven, you know who it's really going to be? It's going to be little X. He's going to be Drax. Yes. All of a sudden, he's going to be like 25. His dad's going to move him to Mars. His dad's going to be old in his 80s and stuff. And Drax is going to effing take over. Well, why not just wipe out all of Earth so after you breed your population of Mars, you can come back here and re-inhabit the planet the way you want it. Yeah, clean the slate.
That's exactly what Drax wanted.
Rub it really good. Make sure it's clean. And then after, 100,000 years or so, send your people back, give the planet time to recover, and then send everybody back. Send a couple million people back to start new colonies. And you have two worlds.
Or even worse, what if he decides once he's on Mars, hey, I like it here, screw planet Earth, sterilize the planet, and then do nothing with it?
Well, no, I think you'll keep it as a food source, at least until they can terraform Mars.
Oh yeah,
that might, what it might be. Remember that episode of Stargate where they had the planets that were just for food sources? It could become that.
Mm-hmm.
It could just become a food source for the colonization, us to go into space, and our colonies will be where everybody lives, not on the planet anymore. No, Christopher. I mean, we'll get evicted, yes, because there'll be so many of us, 100 billion or more. We'll need the whole planet to be able to feed the population. Currently,
you still need a population on Earth to.
Yeah, but not like that, because think. All right, so right now,
I guess you have robots do it.
Yeah, but I've been proving this point to a lot of people lately about the news stuff. But so I showed Linda just the other day, and I showed Jeremy the same thing, and Marco too. So I got a bunch of these clips. So guys out, there's one guy in his tractor and a guy riding in the back of the thing. They're just raking through the fields, cutting everything, it's boxing, it's square, and it's leaving it there for the next one to come pick it up with one person. So this is a job, and the guy was talking about this, that used to take 200 people to do. It takes 2 now. 2. That's it. And he was talking about his whole farm and everything they grow and how it does. So 20 years ago, when he was still a kid, or about 25 years ago, his dad employed 1,100 people to run the farm. You know how many he employs today? 66.
Jeez.
And his production is double what it was when it was 1,100 of them.
We have a farm just down the road from us. It's run by an Amish family, and I think there's mom, dad, and like 2 boys, maybe 3 kids, but the boys are under 12 years old. One of the boys is like approaching 10-ish and drives their little 4x4 around. But he's got 3 or 4 huge fields. So he's got one or 2 of corn. He's got one for soybean, and I think one crop was corn to sell, and one is a crop to feed his cows. But it's run by just the mom and dad and like his 3 underage kids. It's amazing that this.
Well, no, that's just today, and that's so Jimmy. So what's going to happen is, as man moves into space, fewer and fewer of us are going to live here because we're going to need more and more of the territory to grow stuff in. But we'll have Mars, we'll have the moons around Jupiter and Io, we'll have colonies in different places. Eventually, we'll have stuff out in Proxima Centauri. Vega. Well, as we go out, it gets easier and easier and easier for us. The funny parts are always going to be the same thing. Sooner or later, as we're starting to colonize and get into deep space, I mean, so it's from the Oort cloud, it's about 2 light years to Vega. That's at light speed. So we're thinking we're only doing these trips at half light speed. So it's still 4 years. So you want to stop and point somewhere along the line. So you'll put a base halfway between the Oort cloud and Proxima. That way you can stop off 2 years in a trip, refuel, let people race, take care of medical emergencies because it'll be a decent sized base. Load back up, pick up what you need, get your final supplies for Proxima, and do your last 2 years. So from Earth to Proxima, doing it that way will take you about 8 or 9 years to get there. But you'll get there still refreshed with everything you need to get there, everything you need to start for a colony. And as we're doing it like we're doing with Mars, we'll be sending stuff ahead of time that'll be landing there. And that'll keep going and on and on, and we'll get more and more proficient at it. Eventually, somewhere while we're doing all this, somebody will invent either portal technology or wormhole technology or faster than light technology, FTL drives, and then we'll just start passing our own cells up because we'll have ships that'll be out there already doing this, going places. We'll just be blowing by them. So by the time that ship reaches its destination, our new ships will already be there. I know, won't that be a bitch? I don't know if they'll stop and wake them up or stop and catch them up. Depends whether they're asleep or not. Because a lot of this is talked about by we don't want to put people to sleep for that long. We want them to be part of it.
Well, I mean, also, I would think it would,
Or at
like
least
in 2001, when something would happen, they would, was it 2001 or Planet of the Apes? I forget. But they were asleep, and the spaceship woke them up because something came nearby, and in one of those sci-fi movies, I don't remember which one.
That's in a couple of sci-fi movies, so you're good.
Yeah. So you would think that,
and it is in 2001 too.
Well, yeah, and you would absolutely think that we would put something in our ship, and if one of our other newer ships can go faster and would come by, it would be like ding, 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 wake everybody up, hey, and we could flag a ride.
It's going to be interesting to see how it all goes. Now, Jimmy, so Leah earlier was talking about she thinks that maybe we may have been gifted some technologies.
Yes.
Or maybe gifted.
Just a speculation.
No. So I don't know. So we're going to jump back 200 years. Germans are the most advanced people on the planet by far. Easily.
Yes.
Way more advanced than we are. 1900s come, or 1870s come, 1880s come. Germany's way more advanced than anybody else on the planet. So for some reason, some according to Hitler, some fair-haired, blue-eyed, angelic-looking beings came to him and brought him technology. Not just that, in Montcalm in the book, he alludes to that they may even been guiding him on his twin experiments and other experiments he was doing, genetic experiments he was doing, because he was trying to find out if there was a telepathic link between twins, and some of them have and some of them don't. But he was trying to find out why and how it worked. There was lots of other things, and he kind of alluded that that's where he got the technology from, and that's where he got the ideas from. That's why he wanted the fair-haired, blue-eyed race. Think about this. So two extraterrestrials may have been coming by and decided, oh, look, this is pretty advanced society. Let's give them a helping hand. Give them some old school, old saucer technology from 500,000 years.
2 million years ago.
This is a good place from the start. You're very ingenuity. Who would have known that Hitler would have turned this into what he did? Now, in all fairness, Frankie, I seen that smartest comment you made. He wasn't the one they gave it to. They gave it to the guy before Hitler. Hitler was the one who realized it was useful. Well, actually, it was two of them did, but from 1913 to 1917 or 18, I believe, Germany was building saucers, everything. They had a saucer-shaped tank. They tried to build two different saucer-type jet things. Both of them were complete disasters. They tried to build a saucer-type boat. You name it, they were trying to build it. So here we get through all that. We're going into World War II. Germans are on the edge of nuclear technology. They're building weapons at a much faster rate than we are, and they had already licked jet engines. They just didn't have.
But also they were able to build the world's largest battleship up to that time under the full scrutiny from World War I, under the full scrutiny of everybody around the planet who was watching Germany like a hawk to make sure they didn't build an army and take over the world again. And they were somehow able to do it under the scrutiny of the entire populace of Europe, America, and Russia. Just think about that.
Probably one of them human alien ships came and dropped it off in the water. So the point is, Chris, is the fact that did the aliens knowingly do this? Was this an accident? Was this intentional? Did they understand the influence they were going to have on Hitler? And did they know that it would turn into what it turned into? That's the real question. Did they know this? Because remember, Hitler talks about talking to them. And Hitler talks like they had been around for a while. So here you've got these fair-haired, blue-eyed angels who we all know as human-type aliens. And we're all wondering what the bleep is going on here. Yes, well, so Miranda, where you at, Miranda? Yeah, I've been forgetting to ask you where they're at tonight. Where you at? Yosemite, I know where you're at. Yeah. No, I know why you don't want to say it, but I know where you're at. Anyway, well, we don't, they're all the aliens are trying to do is eat you. No, I'm just kidding. I couldn't help it. It was too easy. It was sometimes they're just too easy, and I have to stay away. I don't know why they're here, other than the fact that they just like to looking at us. They think we're cute and stuff, and squeezy like squeezy dolls and stuff. You see, y'all got me completely off track. I see what y'all were doing. I was scaring y'all, wasn't I? Okay, whatever. Aliens love you. Yeah, you keep believing that. Getting back to what we were talking about, I can't really say if the human type aliens, when they were giving us this technology and talking to Hitler about these different things, was this intentional? Were they trying to make Hitler the ruler of the world? Is that what they were after? Because all the alien races agree that when you ask contactees, the same thing. We need to be a one world planet. 200 governments is ridiculous. 3 governments is ridiculous. There should be one government.
There are currently 213 countries on this planet.
Do you realize, people, day one, $2 trillion stops being spent on defenses and stuff that goes along with them that could be put towards science. And every scientist on the planet will now be allowed to work with each other and transfer ideas. Do you know how much we will start doubling our technologies in a year? Every year it'll be double, probably more than like every 6 months. We are our own worst enemy. We hold ourselves back. Think about this. We burnt the Great Library not once but twice to the ground. God knows what was lost in there. Everybody agrees it set us back 1,000 to 2,000 years. Boom, gone. Spanish Inquisitions, all the burnings of knowledge and books and history for 500 years in the Middle Ages. Religion set us back at least 1,000 years. So think about it. Here we are. We could be 3,000 years more advanced than we are today. But we're not. We're worse off than we were. America made a boo-boo in World War II. It shouldn't give back the territory that it held. It should have kept the territory it held, which was about 63% of the planet at the time, and done what the generals told him and took Russia, and everybody else would have just fell in line, because by then we'd have had not quite half the population, right at half the population, and 70% of the world's territory, and 80% of the money. It would have been easy to bring everybody else down without a fight. Actually, China, at that time, not now, but at that time, China would have probably caved in pretty easy. They were starving. They were having a bad time after World War II. Yes. Japan really put an ass kicking on them. Well, maybe that's why they got it in for Japan so bad.
No, they've had it for centuries, though. So that's nothing new.
Yeah, that's true. Look, Bruce, don't ask me about this, okay? I got a lot of friends that live in Asia, and there's what I forgot how many Asian countries there are. What kicks me is they all come from the same DNA source, but if you ask them to no, but they do. Science says they do. Yes. But it's like the rest of us. Everybody on this planet is human. Everybody's blood is red. Generally, it's one of 4 blood types. Well, no, there's more than 4 blood types, but it's generally of one of those 4 blood types. So we're basically the same species. What are you talking about, Michael? Because your hair color is different, your eye color is different, you're skinnier or taller, you're still human. That's where we get stupid. We get being human confused with nationalism. Now, you want to get all worked up because you're Irish or Scottish or British or American or Chinese or Russian, but it means shit in the grand scheme of the universe. Do you really think if an alien race comes to this planet, they're going to give a good crap what nationality you are? No, they're not. They're going to be confused why they've got to listen to 200 different people scream at them at the UN instead of one person. And they're going to wonder why that one country can veto 160 others.
Yeah.
We wonder that today, but because it sucks. America wants something, Russia or China vetoes it. Russia or China wants something, and America or one of its allies vetoes it. What are there, 7 veto countries? 7 veto votes? 5, 7? I don't know. It's something like that. Well, nothing ever gets done.
You get too many chefs, and they're all spoiling the stew.
And the bad part is, when's the last time you heard the UN say anything about extraterrestrial anything? You just so you've got countries all around the world right now looking into this hot and heavy, but yet the United Nations hasn't even started a venue on it. Hasn't even had a talk about it. I don't know. There's too much evidence to suggest we're being visited to not be paying attention to it. And the ancient world has just got so much. It's just ridiculous. Well, maybe Jay usually knows where it's at. Jay, where's the Mesopotamian guy with the purse and the armband? So this particular thing I got Jay looking for is
it was a bas relief carving. You can only find it on the internet now. The Al Qaeda, they destroyed all that stuff years ago. They no longer exist. So what if it? I think it was in where the city of Ur would have been.
Well, that's the thing. There's 9 versions of this thing in 9 different countries.
Yeah,
3 of those countries in South America, which is just even more confusing.
Yes.
Well, believe it or not, the Middle Eastern countries and some of the South American cultures, like the Mayans, Aztecs, and Incans, had some similarities, more so than the Europeans. Well, yeah, the Europeans and the Scandinavian countries, the civilized world, as they said that. I'm not saying that. They anytime you got to use vivisection and a guillotine, you're not all that civilized. Jesse, ask me on Friday and I'll tell you what vivisection is, or just look it up. This show is PG-13 rated, so it's not something I want to talk about. Yeah, but it's what's that, Michael? It's just a way of killing somebody. That's all it is. It's anyway. Look it up for yourself, or wait till Friday and ask me on the Friday show, and I'll give you some detail about it. Marco, to answer you. So I know you heard me talking about O parts earlier, which are out of place parts, artifacts. Yeah, O parts, it just means out of place artifacts. So O parts are generally stuff like there's been some geodes found. So there's been 2 geodes found that had batteries inside them. They were actually generator battery type things inside the geode. One of them was a hoax. Yes. The other one was not. So what happened was the original one was found, and about a decade later, somebody made a hoaxed one to try to debunk the first one, but the first one still, because they x-rayed the geode. So you can see there's no lines, no cuts, no marks in it at all. It had never been opened. But you could see there was something inside the geode, so they cut it.
And it's like a typical generator, energizer type battery.
Yeah, it was like a thing that you put the batteries in to charge the batteries. Is actually what there was batteries in it. Not the kind of batteries we use today, but there were batteries in it. Nobody knows. There's been cogs found. There's been gears found. There's been electronic stuff found. There's been cogs found in coal that had to be not 1 million, but 1 billion years old. There was some stuff found in Hawaii not too long ago when the volcano was spewing out lava. That's when they found it. So a couple of things that's interesting about this. One, it came from so deep down, they said it had to be 100 million plus years old. 2, it survived the lava, undamaged and unscathed. Matter of fact, the guy grabbed it with the thongs and just beat it on the ground, and the lava broke off, and there's the gear perfect. They look freaking brand new.
We have no way of making any kind of metal that could withstand that type of heat.
So yeah, because that's what it's forged in, is heat like that. So I don't know, but it's not. I mean, there's other things that have been found. I forgot. I mean, Michelle and I did a special on it a while back. On matter of fact, you can go find it on the Gray Zone. Denise, the Gray Zone is members only. Actually, sorry, sweetie, but it is on the Gray Zone. We did a special on out of place art. There's probably other shows on the networks that have talked about out of place artifacts. I've talked about them on here before, but that particular show, Michelle and I, was a pretty deep dive into it. We talked about quite a few things, actually. Matter of fact, there's a good show right next to it on Shroud Tour, which also was a really good show. Well, we got some really good researchers. Now, tonight we're just talking about what ifs. We're not really doing research. So, you mean course? You mean these people? Oh, this is who you're talking. Look how pretty they are. With their little people, purple alien faces. It's too much light, that's why. But currently 134,000 cases on file. Now to get to that, it was about 500,000 cases to get that. Those are all considered legit cases. They all have abduction criteria. They follow. It goes along with the guidelines for the research. Probably more than half have been polygraphed and voice stressed. All of them have undergone body language and stuff like that. Everybody's either taught. Well, so a submitted case for us. I mean, a case we consider that goes into the file. Usually, will pass through a couple of investigators, usually a state director, maybe a section director, and then usually one of the national, international directors will just read the case and then file it, just to make sure it's a legit case. Yes. Well, there's a lot of cases just don't make it, and not all the cases that don't make it doesn't mean it wasn't some type of contact or something. It's just not enough evidence to go along with it. No, we've categorized ships that people have described, types of abductions people have described. So it's like England. England is like a control study for extraterrestrials. So if you listen to people talk about alien abduction in the United States or Britain or China or anywhere for that matter, they talk about it two ways. If you listen to them talk about it in Britain, it's what I like to call abduction 101. They're not really all that nice to you. They grab you, do what they're going to do, do their deed, bring you back kind of sloppily, toss you back. But everybody else, they seem to take their time and do what they call looped memories. So they don't even do missing time hardly anymore. Now they've got to the point where they understand. Somewhere along the line, the extraterrestrials realized that the researchers were tracking them via missing time and a few other things, types of memories and missing time. So ET got smart. They take you out of time. They pull you sideways out of time and hold you and do whatever they're going to do there. And then they put you back either right after they took you or right before they took you, but real close. So there's no real missing time in your head. And then they like to do looped memories. So in the old days, they would just do cover memories, but cover memories can be broken. So they started doing looped memories. A looped memory is something like, let's say you have lunch at the same place every day, or you have dinner at the same place, or you something you do all the time, something you do that you're not going to question, something you just do. It's not, bathing your cat, whatever. Could be anything, washing your car, washing your hair, just something you do repetitively that you're not going to think of. Like I said, places you stop and eat, those kind of things. So they take that and instead of trying to put a cover memory in, they replace the memory with that. So it just loops. So there's nothing in your brain to make you think, even though the memory's still there, there's nothing there for you to think about. All you see is that looped memory. And you don't
tell them the story about the woman with that you have the case where she was pregnant and went to the same store, which was actually
out of her way,
with like a chili dog or whatever, and then years later she went and did that same memory, and that memory you found out was like a trigger for when she's being abducted.
Yeah, so Jane, we're just going to say Jane. We're not going to get no real names. Jane, it was a businesswoman who had gotten pregnant, and she used to drive to work every morning. Well, around her fourth month, there's a chili dog stand on her way to work. and it opened up at 9 a.m. So she'd actually stop there and wait, because she'd get there about 8:31. She'd stop and wait for them to open up and get a chili cheese onion dog every morning for the rest of her pregnancy. Every morning. I was like, oh, you trying to kill you and the baby. She said she just loved it. She could get enough of them. That's the killer part. And I talked to her husband. Her husband was just laughing his ass off. But anyway, long story short, about a year or two goes by. So she's sitting talking to her husband, talking about how good the chili dog was. She couldn't wait to go to work next week again. We never even thought about it. On the way to work the next day, she went to pull in and then realized the place had been closed for about 10 months. But yet, just yesterday, she had eaten a chili dog there. That's technically and physically impossible. So they just took that memory, because when ET saw that memory, they recognized it as a loop memory. They never knew that the business is closed. They just saw it was a memory that happened all the time, so they used it.
Or she actually was able to mentally drive her car backwards in time 10 months to get that chili dog.
She might have wanted it, because she said she wanted them bad, man. She said she couldn't believe it. And she said that actually her kid's almost is a teenager now, and she really likes chili dogs too, by the way, just so y'all know. But that's just one of those cases. I mean, there's lots of cases where we've had things that have happened out of sync, where people have been brought back before they were taken, and it screws everything up. There's cases where events happened and then they were taken. That's physically impossible. How can that happen unless you're time traveling? So it seems like ET sometimes screws up when they bring people back. They bring them back too soon sometimes. They're not the best time tellers, apparently. I'm pretty good at pulling out of time, but this is one of my favorite stories right here. So this just drives a point, and it's not even the first time this has happened, but this drives the point home very eloquently. So we were in Pensacola, Florida, having dinner with actually we were in Destin, honestly. So, kind of in between. But anyway, we were down there having dinner with these two contactees, a husband and wife, and we were talking, and we went out and had dinner in a really nice restaurant. And it was a very high-end restaurant, yes. Well, they had a lady in this little short skirt walking around, taking pictures and stuff. And it was long enough ago that they actually still had a cigarette girl. And but really, she wasn't a cigarette girl; she was a cigar girl. So I might as well clarify. But anyway, so we're having dinner. The guy who was with us stopped the lady and had some pictures taken. Bought a couple of cigars, and we talked for another hour. And then we left there, stopped at this place that he wanted to show me, and then they went home, and then we went to the hotel. Man, so I was up another hour or two after that. It was already after midnight when we got back to the hotel. So I think I got to sleep around 3 a.m. Yeah, my phone just starts ringing. And then my phone's ringing and the hotel phone's ringing. I'm like, what the hell? So I grab my phone, I pick it up, and as soon as I pick it up and say hello, the hotel phone stops ringing. And then this woman's on the phone, and the guy's in the background, and I couldn't even understand it. It was so panicked. I'm like, what is the matter? So you got to come over. You got to come over. You got to come over. You got to come. That's all I kept hearing. I was like, why? I can't even explain to you what happened. And he said, and then she just started crying. I said, all right, I'm on my way. Let me get dressed. So I got up, put the coffee on, got dressed, got the coffee, got in the car. We drove over there. He comes out, and so I look up and I said, where's such and such? I said, Joe, it's me. I said, no, where's such and such? I said, no, Joe, it's me. And she came out, and I was like, so he had a beard like this. He was completely no hair on his face whatsoever. None. I mean, he had one of these beards. I mean, he looked like Redbeard. The damn thing was out so far. This is, when I talked to the doctor said 3 to 5 weeks worth of growth. 3 to 5 weeks. She had hair, we measured on her legs, that was 2.5 inches long.
Wow.
She was in a skirt that night with clean shaven legs. 2.5 inches long. Doctor said it had to be at least 5 weeks. At least. And he said he had never heard of any kind of spontaneous hair growth like that ever. He looked and looked and looked and looked. And he didn't believe us until I showed him the pictures from the night before. And then he was like, well, I said, yeah, I'm with you, Doc. I don't know what the hell happened. So when we regressed him, I said, well, look, we all need to take a break. I said, I was going to regress you today, but you're pretty stressed. I said, let's give it a couple of days and then I'll put you under and we'll see what comes out. And as we always do, we turned on the videotape, which we kept having weird magnetic problems with. I actually had to move it back another 5 feet further back away from him because it just kept, I don't know how to explain it, it kept fuzzing out or something. But anyway, I get him on the hypnosis and we start talking. And I barely got her on. This is like stage 3. I mean, this is hardly even hypnotized. I mean, you're completely aware of what's going on around you. And she just starts just talking nonstop, just talking. And she starts talking about what happened, who took her. And she said, Joe, we were gone at least 5 weeks. And so I sent both of them in for a complete physical where they found several marks, very fresh. And that was another thing that confused the doctors. They had marks that weren't there the night before that were there that day, but they were completely healed, and healed to the point where they were almost smooth again. The doctor was, and her doctor knew because both their doctors knew because they see him regular basis. So they were confused by this as well. They were like, well, I don't understand what happened here. So you could tell something had happened. But anyway, on the hypnosis, they started talking about the things that were going on, the procedures that happened, what they were being told while they were there. She said
they spent 5 weeks or 6 weeks on a spaceship, or did they get to another planet?
But you didn't know. They never saw outside.
Oh.
She said she couldn't tell. She said a lot of times I got the sense that maybe we want some monster mothership like those people talk about. She said, but I couldn't tell you because there was controlled daylight, controlled nightlight. You know, at every so often the lights would just dim throughout the whole place. So they were in some controlled facility somewhere. But Jimmy, the Greys do that sometimes because it's just easier to yank you, do what they want to do instead of coming and getting you every day. They can just yank you, keep you for X amount of time now, and then drop you back where they started from. And as far as you're concerned, nothing happened. But they do make stupid mistakes, like they should have shaved both of them. They knew what they looked like before they came in. It's not something they thought about because it's not something in their society. And then
they don't have the hair, so why would they think about it? I mean,
and there's a couple of them. This one, so this is 2 couples, one in San Francisco, one in New York City. Okay, so they both go out to dinner. Now remember, there's a 3-hour time difference between San Francisco and New York. So they go out to dinner. They do the whole 9 yards. A couple of New York gets home. I think they said about midnight, 1 o'clock. They go to bed, and the other couple said they got home around 11 or 12, which puts it about 2 a.m., 3 a.m. in New York. Anyway, long story short, the girl in New York wakes up about 5:30 in the morning, which makes it about 2:30, 3 o'clock San Francisco time, and just starts screaming at the top of her lungs. I mean, just screaming and throwing stuff and hitting the guy next to her because the guy next to her wasn't her husband. It was a man she had never seen ever before. First time she ever seen her. So they're screaming and fighting, and she's trying to call the police, and he's like, "Who the hell are you? And where's my wife?" And they're going,
why are you in my house?
Well, I always forget. I always forget to say this, but she was in his wife's clothes, or in her night clothes, and so finally he gets her to calm down, and she's like sitting completely. And she said she got the phone in her hand. He said, "Don't call a cop yet. Let's talk. I want to know what happened." So they get to talking, and he said, "Well, you need to call your husband and let him know where you're at." So she's kind of confused, but she picks up the phone and calls her husband. Well, nobody answers, and she calls a second time, and the woman picks up the phone, and she's like, "Well, who the bleep and bleep and bleep and bleep and bleep and bleep and hell are you?" And then you hear the woman. Then you start hearing the woman screaming in the background because she just realized that the guy she's sleeping next to is not her husband either.
Yikes!
So somehow or another, they flip-flopped these 2 women, and this is all well documented, people. We know what time they got home. Matter of fact, both of them had cameras on their house, so we know what time they left and what time we got back. We know they were never at the airports. Whoops. You can see in both cases they never left the house again. But somehow or another, these two women got flip-flopped.
3,000
Somebody should have wrote
miles.
a book about them. Somebody should have
3,000
wrote a
miles.
book.
Yeah.
And oh well, they got another one. These two girls are actually best friends now. So there was a girl in Japan woke up one morning in little pink drawers and a little pink top with a teddy thing on it, and she freaked out. She was like, "This ain't her clothes." She couldn't figure out it. Some lady in LA woke up that morning with a T-shirt with a big pink bear on the front of it that says "Hug Me," and some little white drawers that had somebody's name written across the back of them. So she started researching. She said it took her a while, and she finally stumbled across this girl in Japan. And because she just kept researching names, unfortunately, the girl's name was kind of like Smith, so it made it kind of tough. But she did eventually. But she said one of the things that helped her, she had ran some ads in Tokyo and a couple other cities, and she ran some ads in Los Angeles just to see if somebody would see it. And she had gotten an email. So she called the girl, and she said, "Thank God the girl spoke English because she didn't speak any Japanese."
Yeah.
And she described what she had. Well, they met somewhere in I think they went and met in Singapore somewhere. But anyway, they flip-flopped their clothes. They put the girls back where they belong, but they put different clothes on different people.
That's funny.
The fact that they even found each other amazes me. You know, just the fact that they found each other amazes me. So there are several stories. Two friends of mine. I had met them, God, it's like 30 years ago, and I'd been known about 15 years, and one got stage 4 cancer, liver cancer, I believe it was, and one got breast cancer, all within a couple weeks of each other. And both the doctors told them, this is I think in the 90s, late 90s, told them, you know, make your plans. There's no way you're going to survive this. You both got they both had stage 4 cancer. It had spread to 3 other places. Well, Marissa, stage 4 means when you have it, each stage means you're in a different place. Yeah, so you have in your breast and your liver, you got stage 2. Yeah, and the more places it goes, the more stages you have. That's not a complete explanation, but close enough. But anyway, getting back to what I was saying, these two ladies both had stage 4. And I remember this. I think it was like 1999 or 2000. We were in the middle of working on a new project. I think we were doing the base runs for ICAR and the new UFO Paranormal Radio Network. And I get a call, and this lady's just ecstatic. She said, "Hey, Joe." I said, "Man, you sound like in a good mood. What's up? How you feeling?" She said, I feel like a brand new person. And she says, I'm sending you something. I'm emailing you something I want you to look at. So I open up the email, and it's her x-rays, her new x-rays, not even a spot of cancer. Not just that, there was no damage. In all the places the cancer had been in her body and all the things it had eaten up, there was no damage. There was no cancer, no damage. It couldn't have been 45 minutes when the other one called me and told me about it. And I had hooked these two up earlier that year because, you know, so they had somebody to talk to. And they had realized somewhere along the line that they were both abductees or contactees. They're still alive today, healthy as a horse. Matter of fact, neither one of them been sick since then.
Well, even more amazing. I mean, that's an amazing story there. But there are multiple stories of women who are pregnant. They're abducted, and they're not only they're pregnant. They go to their doctor and they have an exam. They have a sonogram. They have physical, medical, electronic, sonographic evidence of this child in this woman's womb. Woman's abducted a few days later. Boom, comes back to her doctor 2 weeks or whatever for the next, prenatal visit. And bam, she doesn't show any signs, primary or secondary signs of pregnancy. No swollen breast, no milk production, no upgrades in hormones, no baby. The uterus doesn't even look like it's gone through a menstrual cycle in these women. And they are, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, were just there at their same doctor's office getting pictures taken of the baby.
Yes, they were.
So
we have our original caseload was 5,500 women we talked to. We still track it today. It's not as prominent as it was through the 80s and 90s and the early 2000s, but Oh no, guys. So we got turned on to this by a doctor in 1989. He said that they called it the missing baby syndrome. And they try to explain it away from all kinds of things, spontaneous abortion.
Now, spontaneous abortions do happen, but they're very messy.
And a couple other things that they said that it could be. There's a couple of diseases where the body eats the fetus and so on and so forth, but not at that rate. But anyway, regardless. But the real kicker here was, so some of these women had ultrasound so that you could actually physically see the babies there. All of them had blood tests, actually more than once. So there was no doubt they were pregnant. Around 3 months into the pregnancy, the baby just disappears. But it's more than that. Not only does the baby disappear, but all the hormone levels go back to normal. And when you go inside to look at the uterus and everything, there's no damage. It never looks like there was ever even a baby there.
Yeah.
But it's a kicker because, female hormones change a lot when they get pregnant. And
Yes,
for the hormones just to go right back to normal after 1 day is it's unheard of. It's as far as I know, that's an impossibility too.
6 months, yeah.
So anyway, it did, and the doctors were amazed. Nobody knew what to say it was. No one still today knows what to call it, and it still happens.
There's no logical explanation for it except with advanced technology.
I met a lady who wrote the book Rachel's Eyes. I'm sorry, and she had a daughter who was a special needs child, but not like you think. So shortly after the daughter was born, the U.S. military came to see her because this kid had to have special types of food. The kid was very brilliant. She looked like us, but not completely. It wasn't that she was ugly. She just you could tell there was more to her than just what you were seeing.
She had larger eyes.
I don't know how to explain it, but in the book, they find that the government admits that she's a hybrid. She's a human extraterrestrial hybrid. So this is not just documented by us, but this was documented by the school, the CIA, FBI. There was a lot of stuff written about this, and then there was a book written about it. So they put her in college, and she's going to college, and she's just living life, but she was too much alien, not enough human. So that's why when they do these experiments, these 3 months, and they take the baby, if the baby is too hybrid, if it's too much alien
looking, yeah,
it stays with them. If it's human and it doesn't have a bunch of superpowers, they give it back to the family. But it is changed and altered. Well, O negative is an alter in itself. Or RH negative is an alter in itself. Yes, because people get confused about this, but for 2 million years we were brown hair, brown eyed, brown skin, and
brown everything.
RH positive, and we shared 2% of our genes with the rhesus monkey. Then all of a sudden, here comes RH negative, and it's just different. The purest form of blood we know comes from O negative. The universal donor is also O negative. 65 to 70% of everybody who says they've been touched or taken by extraterrestrial is RH negative, and they only make up 18% of the world's population. I mean, all the RH negatives combined. And think about this, people. RH negative is a baby killer. So Mother Nature didn't create it because it kills babies. Until somebody invented the antigenogen G gene, babies were dying from this. Why do you think they used to have a blood type to get married to make sure you were compatible to have a child? Yes. That sounds like an alien thing. That doesn't sound like a human Mother Nature thing. Yeah, because if Mother Nature would have created it, it would have been compatible with everything, and we wouldn't. This was a mutation, and not just that; it was a mutation.
It sounds like an engineered stopgap to make sure that the population doesn't go above a certain level.
No, it seems like it opened them up so they can go above. RH positive seem to have maxed out. So the majority of people on this planet that are telepathic are RH negative, not RH positive. And it's a big gap, not a little gap. It's a big gap. You can find that out through the Navy and Air Force's plans. Since 2000, both the Navy and Air Force have been hiring telepaths. Yes, if you're a real telepath, you can get a job. But you got to be a real one. You can't be like the guy on the TV show that acted like. You got to be a real. Well, no, Rh negative people have different types of personalities. They're just different. They no, there's been several studies done on this. They're just different. The Rh, and remember, Rh negative does not share genes with the rhesus monkey. It's a separate species. Yeah, not all of our DNA is the same as the Rh positives. Figure that one out. No rhesus monkey means we don't have the same genes. It looks like that somebody said, looks, the human race isn't moving fast enough. This isn't becoming telepathic fast enough. And they gave us a boost. It's probably not going to be the only boost.
Well, no, that we've allegedly had several.
Jesse, I don't think you're going to see telekinesis for a long time. Well, one, it's dangerous. Well, think about what you just said. So let's say I was a really good, I really had really good telekinesis powers. That means if I wanted to, I could sit here while I'm talking to you, I'll think about Vladimir Putin and close an artery in his brain, cause an aneurysm, and he would die. And as far as anybody was concerned, he just had an aneurysm and died. So you'll know when somebody gets real telekinesis because all of a sudden several people on this planet will die of weird causes, well, not weird causes, normal causes, but there'll be a bunch of it will happen real fast. Why wouldn't you?
Think about the telepathic end of it, not just the telekinetic powers. There was a movie, Dreamscape, where they speculate that the government has a program of trying to insert telepaths into people's brains while they're dreaming, and then while they're in the dream, they interact with them and kill them in their dream, and so therefore they die in real life. Now, that's a wives' tale, but think about it though. You could telepathically, while they're driving in front of you, get mad at them and just like make them jerk the wheel off into a bridge abutment and kill themselves, or drive off a bridge into a river or a lake, or you don't have to like control their brain. You could control their vehicle with the telekinesis. Either way, make it look like natural or accident.
James, we got to go in a minute, but there are telepaths on the planet. There's some pretty good ones out there. There's not as many as most of them, unfortunately, just don't realize that they are. We take a lot of things for granted. Like my mom always knew where I was at. Anytime the phone rang, she knew who the hell was on the phone. Somebody knocked on the door, she knew who was there before we ever got there. A lot of my family was like that, but you don't really think about it as telepathy. You just think, oh well, one of them things. But that's what it is. Shit, Mama, I could have been freaking on Mars. She would have known what I was doing. Don't ask me, man. She had Jodar, man. That's all I got to say.
I could be standing behind my mother in the grocery store saying, "Mom, can we get this?" And she would even have to turn around, and her shoe would somehow fly out of her foot onto her hand and into my face or into my hand and knock the thing back on the shelf. She didn't have to look. All moms have some kind of telepathy when it comes to their children's. It's weird.
Well, it's like when we were talking about Hitler earlier, and we barely got into anything we want to talk about today. We started a little bit late. I want to really walk y'all through what goes on with all this stuff, but I really want to start in the past a little bit more and come a little bit deeper through the old parts into current times. What's that? I haven't been asked. I've testified twice. I don't know what the hell I'd tell them. Do you mean, do I have secrets? Of course I do. Are you asking me if I told the government everything I know? Is that what you're asking me? Hell no, I did not. You got to keep something to keep you safe, my friend. They know who I am. And they don't know what I know, but they know a lot of what I know. But like I told them, a lot of when I sat there and testified, a lot of what I told them is stuff that I've already said on radio shows around the world. So I always told them, well, no, there were some things like abduction criteria. We only ever put out 50% of that at any one time because it'd be too easy for people to lie. There are other things dealing with agendas and stuff that I don't talk about. Well,
it's the same thing with a murder investigation. You don't tell all the details so that you can wait till you get a suspect who knows details that only the killer would know, and then you got your guy. But if you go and tell all the details, then one of those guys who wants to go to jail can show up and go, "Yeah, I did," and give details that would make him seem like he's guilty.
Well,
so
anyway, guys, I know we got to get it, but I have been warned more than once about talking about particular agendas. I've had shows broken into. I've had them shut down, not just my internet, but everybody who was listening to the internet. I've been personally threatened, but they've threatened my family more than once. I mean, shit, they showed up at work. I had 20-something guys on a roof ripping off a roof on an apartment complex, and they showed up to threaten me. Well, this is what's so weird about that particular sprint. They showed up to pat me on the ass and on the head and threaten. Yeah, because a lot of what I was doing, they were happy I was doing. Just when it came to talking about alien agendas, that was a no-no. Oh, no, even today they don't like me talking about it. Let's start talking about it. Watch, I'll do a show with y'all. We'll get 10 minutes in and they don't want me talking about it. Well, I don't even presume to know everything they're doing here. I just know some stuff that I've met either through government contacts or other forms. What are you talking about? What country they do the most abductions or contacts in? That's a tough one. Mainly because of countries like China and India, the numbers aren't readily available. What do you think they're racist and they don't abduct people from other countries? What are you, stupid? They don't care what your nationality. I'm telling you now, they don't care what your nationality.
They're abducting as many people as they are all over the planet.
But they have been known to interfere in ways of peace, love, and light. Only because they don't want to see us become a violent species as we move into the universe. We're a violent species.
Oh.
Get the fuck out of here. Well, beep. Sorry. Now I'm going to have to go edit that.
By the way, today is World Octopus Day, if that helps.
Yes, I was posting little octopuses earlier today, by the way, with smart-ass comments underneath them. No, Jesse, we really got to go. But I'll tell you what I'll do because we're getting ready to roll out of here. I will tell you who is on the Queen's show in just a second.
Oh, yeah.
The Queen, that's Michelle DeRoche.
And Amelia Pisano, she's back.
Yeah, Michelle is here. And on the Outer Realm, it is Eerie Whispers from Brian Baker. Ooh, Brian returns. We'll be talking about his new book, Eerie Whispers, exploring Canadians' reluctant relationship with its ghostly lore. Oh, you little scary people. Ghosties. What the hell's a ghost, man?
It's Halloween time. It's Halloween theme.
I stick them on a stick and roast him on my barbecue pit.
Yeah, scary, spooky things.
We don't have time to talk about it tonight. You're talking about aliens and paranormal. Well, technically, aliens are paranormal. Paranormal just means out of the norm.
Yeah.
And this is the funny part is, for paranormal people or people involved in the fields, they don't call it paranormal because it's normal to them. It's paranormal to y'all.
Yeah.
Kind of an oxymoron. What are you asking me? Oh, that would take shows to explain all that. That's just one. What do you mean, would I go with an alien? Well, it depends on what kind of alien it was. Well, I don't want to go be dinner for a reptilian or something. I'll probably feed a family of 4, man. No, really, Reese, what? You got 30 seconds, man. Spit it out. We're already 5 minutes into Michelle's time, so spit it out. I'll tell you this. I've never met a person who's ever saw a UFO that had not been a contactee or abductee. Well, real quick, because we got to go. Mexico City, 1997, 98, I don't know when it was. 1 million people saw a UFO hovering over Mexico City. 1 million. Probably the largest UFO sighting ever in history. And next closest one was probably the Belgium sightings, and then probably the Phoenix. But anyway, 1 million people. Lots of videotape, really a lot of videotape with weird sky on it with like this outline of something being there. And there are 2 pictures where birds flew into it, which they used in the movie. I can't remember the name of it now.
Was it Independence Day?
No, Swing Again. This guy lived in a cornfield. And they
Swing, Merrill. Yeah, Signs.
Yeah, Signs. Yeah, it was in that movie. Now, see, I get on damn thing and stuff. My brain goes in a whole another direction. I have to watch myself. What was that, Michael? No, because we got to go. I'll get more into it, but not tonight because we got to go. Because the more I talk about it, the more I'm going to talk about it, and the more time I'm going to cut into the other show. Well, because all those people saw it. But let me stop and tell you something. Mexico City had 22 million people living in it at the time.
Only 1 million saw it.
Yeah, and it was thousands and thousands of people on roofs looking for it that couldn't see it.
And it was it was also during some sort of big event. So
yeah,
there was a lot of people out in the street, like parades and shit going on.
Well, the mayor of Mexico City saw it, some policemen, all kind of people saw it, but then all kind of people didn't see it. So as we go through as a researcher, what I've learned is it seems like people who have been touched see it, and people who haven't don't. Another one, Phoenix, Arizona, boom. About 1,400 people, maybe 14,000 seen it out of a city of
14,000 people saw it, yeah.
Out of 2 million or 3 million. That's it.
There's
people are going outside looking for it because you got to remember both these sites I'm talking about, Mexico City and this one, were on the news while it was happening.
Right. And there are stories of people in the Mexico City event that are standing next to people who are like, look, can you see it? And they're like, no, I can't.
Yes,
they're standing right next to each other looking, and they can't.
You had preachers, firemen, you had people with really and great credentials seeing it, and other people who weren't. Here we go, same thing. Belgium, another big city, and Philippines. This was a crap like half the size of the city.
Belgium's a country, not a city.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's half the size of the country. This thing was huge. It went over 1, 2, 3, 4, I think 5 cities that night. It was just kind of drifting along. They deployed NATO F-16s after the thing. And get this, 5 pilots went, 2 seen it, 3 didn't. I'm sorry, 1 seen it, 4 didn't. The other 4 pilots thought the other pilot had lost his mind, even though it showed up on radar for a little while, and then it went away. But this thing was just passing over cities, and only a handful of people reported seeing it. And how can you be in an F-16 with a guy next to you seeing it and you can't see it? I don't know, guys.
Selective invisibility. Think about that. That has to be technology. It can't be anything else.
You know, it's like when we were talking about stuff in the past, like the guy, well, no, in the Middle East, this happened several times, but one of my favorite stories, it's a Persian city. It's being attacked. They've been on 3 years. The city's been under siege. One afternoon, out of the blue, silverish, bluish shield-looking thing shows up at the front gate. A blue beam comes down, annihilates the gate that they rush in, kill everybody, and win. What's killer about this is both sides reported exactly the same way. Because, you know, the winners always rewrite history, but in this case, both the losers and the winners wrote it the same way.
Correct. There's another story with Alexander the Great.
3,000 years ago.
Yeah, and well, Alexander the Great, he storms the country of Persia, and I forget the king's name that he attacks, but he goes to attack the city. When he gets near the city, Alexander describes a bunch of shields with crosses on them approached the city and like incinerated his elephant core. So he retreated towards the Mediterranean. The king of Persia chased him with his army. And when they met, they had boxed in Alexander up against the Mediterranean. And as the king of Persia and his army were about to destroy them, a bunch of shields, not with crosses on them, came over top of Alexander and incinerated the king's army. And Alexander captured the king, and then hence Persia. And both sides wrote those stories the same.
And we'll continue this show. We'll do part 2 next week because we really barely got into anything. We're just now starting to get into the good stuff in the last hour. But we got to go because Michelle's show is on right now. So I don't want to be
deep doo-doo already with Michelle and Emil.
Yes. Well, no, we ran a little late, so we're all right. But no, I want to make sure she gets her audience. What's that? Michelle DeRoche. She is the station manager. She is a personal friend of mine and the station manager.
And she's got a really cool show next, too. It's on now.
Well, you know what? I'll tell you a little secret, Donnie. So just the other day, some lady on the chat said she was going to get me fired. She said, I'm getting you fired. I said, okay, here's my name. I gave her my name. And I said, please call or write to Michelle DeRoche. She's a station manager. She's the one that does all the hiring and firing. And then we were talking about it on air, and I can't remember if it's Jay or Sean one. I said, well, wait, Joe owns the station. I was going to let Michelle torture this woman for a while, but it's I do own the place, but Michelle runs it. Yes. No, I mean, I do what I want to do, but she runs it. I mean, I give her full credit. She does the hiring, she does the firing. I told her what kind of
Scheduling all the
lineups I
shows.
want. Yeah, I told her what kind of lineups I want. She takes care of that. She helps out the other shows with guests and teaching them how to do things correctly. Yeah. No, she's not married, but she's well, she's not married, but she does have a love interest. Let's leave it at that. It's not my place to talk about her love life. And her co-sponsor, or she's her co-host, is Amelia Passano, who is another sweet and dear friend of mine who I miss when she's not around. When you hear us talking about food porn, her name will always come up.
Almost always will come
If you
up,
hear
yes.
us on Saturday night talking about food porn. Oh, speaking of that, we're gonna I believe it's November 8th. I have to check the schedule. We have a witness coming on about the Pascagoula case, but not on this show. They're going to be on the chat with us.
Oh, cool.
Yes. And then we got a couple other guests. I got to just see what days. I moved some stuff around because I had something else going on, but I straightened all that out. So, by the way, before we go, we are looking for hosts. We're always looking for hosts. We're looking not for this show. We'll be bringing new guests on this show, but I know you may see 2 or 3 guests, maybe even 4 before New Year's, but really we're getting into the holidays now, so we'll be doing a lot of other stuff. So you won't see as many here. News on the flip side, we do guests every once in a while, but not often. Science and Beyond, I do guests sometimes. And the chat, we have had guests on, but you know, who you want to have on? I'll ask her. Yeah. You mean Miss Goodwin or Mr. Goodwin? Miss Goodwin. Amelia. I mean Emily.
It's Emily Goodwin.
Emily, yeah. They're both Canadians. What can I tell you? Canadians are damn Canadian. It's I'll get in trouble for sure for that one. No, Emily is John Goodwin's wife and a good friend of mine, and Amelia is also a good friend of mine, but she's the co-host of The Outer Realm. Yep. She's been on and off a little bit lately. She's been catching up with her health. Yeah, you know, living in Canada is a nasty place.
Yeah, terrible healthcare.
Yeah, bad healthcare, pollution all over the place. Natives coming out and scalping you and shit. Anyway, we gotta go. I want to thank everyone for tuning into United Public Radio and the UFO Undercover. I hope y'all enjoyed the show. Of course, like I always say every week, any moans, groans, bitches, or gripes, please write to Michelle DeRocha. She loves that kind of stuff. Yes. To our dear friend down there, our guest down there. How you doing down there, guesty? She's a quiet guest. She wasn't like that other guest who was in here causing trouble and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, I want to thank everyone one more time for tuning into United Public Radio and UFO Undercover. I hope you enjoyed the show. And come see us on Friday. We got a lot to catch up on this Friday. Well, actually, so Jay and I are short to host, and we done added an hour on the show the last 3 weeks. So don't ask me. No, really, no. What usually News on the Flip Side has 3 to 4 hosts. We're going to start bringing back segments, but we're not going to do them. We're going to bring in other hosts or other people who want to do it. So probably it'll be 4 10-minute segments just before the bottom of every hour. There'll be a 10-minute segment. Well, one might be on, one might just be weather. One might be like financial stuff like Bitcoin and things like that. Just an update kind of stuff like, where's Bitcoin is, where's HTC, where's a couple of the other things that are out there right now, where's gold and silver. Just I wish my friend Treese was still around. She'd do a fabulous job doing that. And I'll find somebody. But, there might be some weather in there. There'll be some special stuff, special things going on around the world.
Quick peek at how the economy's doing, good or bad.
Somebody would probably be doing the shutdown and things like that. Oh, no, Friday night we'll be talking about it. If the shutdown's still here, we'll be talking about it Friday night. Lots of great polls, lots of good stuff coming out about that.
Where are we at? It's 8 days now? 8 days, I think.
Something like that, yeah. Gene, when I checked earlier, BTC was at 123,000 a coin. Yes. Why, you going to give me some coins? You can give me as many as you want. I'll take free. Yeah, give me some BTC coins. I'll give you my wallet addresses. Yeah. Hell, so I feel like an idiot. So I always give the long address when I do my crypto stuff, right? And I was working with somebody today that owed me money. He said, well, no, give me a QR. I said, this one don't have a QR. He said, oh, I have a QR. Sure enough, he was right. It had a QR. Well, the QR is easy it's because it's just easier. You just scan it with your phone or whatever device you're using. Well, they come with links to it, whatever way you want to do it. I use actually I use 4. I use PayPal, I use crypto.com, I use Cash App, and I use Cryptus. I think that's how you say it, Cryptus. Yes. Well, when you're a millionaire in Bitcoin, you got to have multiple ones. Do you know, ladies and gentlemen, if you have more than even $3 million in a bank, you should split that up between about 10 accounts. And the main reason why is most banks will not insure more than $200,000 per mil.
And if that bank gets robbed or electronically hacked, you're toast, and you probably never get it back. If it's in several banks and one of them gets zapped, you lose 200,000. You still have several other banks with 200,000.
Well, but see, that's the thing. The feds will guarantee your money up to $200,000. So if you got $2 million and get stolen, you're out $1.8 million, but you still get $200,000 back. That's
$200,000. Yeah.
It's better than nothing. I mean, it's still, but yeah, it's best to diversify.
It's pocket change when you've had millions, but it's enough.
And I'll be talking about this on Friday night, and if you're setting up for retirement or something like that, don't rely on one thing. 4 or 5 incomes is the best way to do it. If you get one down, you've worked out, maybe it's your 401k, maybe it's stock investing, maybe it's BTs, whatever, and you've got that under the maybe it's long or short-term trading, whatever it may be. Once you figure that out, you keep doing that, but you move into something else as well. And that way, by the time you're my old ass age, you have 4 or 5 incomes coming in, and you can do whatever the hell you want. Yes. And then on that note, we're going to go again one last time. Thank you for listening to United Public Radio and UFO Paranormal Radio. Any moans, groans, bitches, or complaints, please write to Michelle DeRoche. Jay and I got to get out of here. Jay, are you on with Church Friday? Or is it?
I believe this is my last Friday. This three Friday run coming up. Yes, and it might not be.
I know Jeff's probably going to go on vacation like 2 months or something, but I know he takes a hiatus through the holiday.
Yeah, in Christmas we have hiatus coming up. Yeah, that is for sure.
Yes, because I told him we couldn't get naked anymore for Christmas. Since then, he's like, "Well, I'm not doing the show on the holidays."
Yeah, tomorrow's my last. Yeah, it's my last Friday tomorrow. Dave Goodsward is our guest.
No, Jay hosts 5 to 6 hours on Friday night, just like I do on Saturday night. Well, some of us host multiple shows because it's just life. But again, on that note, good night. Stay tuned. Go check out Michelle DeRoche and tell her we all said hi. And we'll be here Friday night to get in and wreak some serious havoc and get in some serious trouble. And until this weekend, have some fun. Enjoy your life. Smile every once in a while. I'm telling you, it won't crack your face if you smile. And if you don't believe in ET, that's a good thing, because I'm going to tell you this before we go. ET is not God, and there's no reason to believe in it. You either know extraterrestrials exist or you don't. It's really
yes or no.
You don't just have to have seen them to know they exist, Marco. Anyway, on that note, good night. Go check out Michelle on the Outer Realm, and we'll see you Friday. Sweet dreams.